Down. That's awesome.
Hi there.
Hey, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. How are you?
Bien, gracias. Doing well. How are you?
Muy bien.
Oh, can you hear
Do you
me
speak
all right?
Spanish? Yes, yes.
Poquito.
I'm here, excellent.
Okay. Yo tengo solamente 2 años sonando la escuela, pero yo necesito más practicar para, whenever I go down to like South America or Spain, of course, I try to practice a little bit more, but it's not very good. I'm trying though. I'm trying my best though. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for your time. For me and for all of us, it's such an honor. So I want to thank you, really, really. It's an honor for me. First of all, I want to ask you about all the coronavirus thing, because first, how are you? And I want to ask you, because there is a lot of people who believes that this is some kind of message, from God, from the universe. Is a lot of things that we need to change. What do you believe about this?
Well, I don't know if it's a punishment or anything like that. I do think that it's a unique opportunity for us all to come together and help each other out, hopefully. And as we realize it's just not going away right away. So we really do all have to come together in the scientific community and help each other out and find a cure, because this is not slowing down. In fact, in the United States, of course, we have the most cases and the most deaths. And it's really, really important for us to help each other find a cure as fast as possible. And it's going to take all of our countries coming together to do so. So I do hope we can find a cure sooner than later, because
You started to act very young. I saw you started to act at the church when you was 9, then to go to the scout youth, to the high school, university, and I want to ask you, why did you decide to become an actor, and who has been your biggest inspiration after your time as an actor?
That's a great question. I think I started, because of church. I had this very small role in it was the birth of Jesus, and I was a very, very small role. I was like townsperson number 10, and I had one line. I only had one line in the entire play, but I messed it up. I didn't do it right, but it was, I guess, the way I said it or what I said, it was very funny, and the whole audience laughed. And I think from that moment I was hooked. I just wanted more of that. And I think for in terms of like any actor that I've tried to emulate or take the most inspiration from, it would probably be a toss-up between Gary Oldman and Christian Bale. I just think those two guys, every time they do a performance, they have to change their appearance and their voice and everything. And I've always wanted to do that with each role I play. I don't want to just play the same guy, and I try to just change it up, even if it's just a little bit. And I would love to have a career like they're basically perfect actors,
What do you prefer? You prefer drama? You prefer comedy? It's the same for you?
I like them both, but I gotta be honest. I haven't done a comedy in a long time. And I really would love to do another comedy, because Walking Dead is amazing and I love working on that, but it's such a heavy show. There's so much darkness, there's so much death, that every once in a while I would love to do a comedy and laugh a little bit more, because I think we need laughter right now more than anything, in this world.
Especially at this time.
Yes, very much so, very much so.
Talking about The Walking Dead, I want to ask you, how did you get the role in The Walking Dead?
Well, I auditioned for it 3 times, and it took, over about 2 or 3 years, I auditioned for that show over and over again. And I had given up acting 6 years ago. I said, I had about $100,000 of debt. I was in a very bad place financially. I had no career really going for me, and I was doing a lot of medical studies to pay the bills and very weird odd jobs, like being I don't know if they have this term in Uruguay, but it's like a guinea pig, like you're being tested on like mice. So I did human trials for medical studies, and that's how I paid my bills for a long time. And my body was weak, I was not feeling good, and I was doing all these weird things for money. And I finally just had to give up. And then right after I gave up acting, a month later, my manager called me and said, "Hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I got an audition for you for The Walking Dead." And I said, "Oh man, that's crazy. I gave up. I thought that you guys dropped me. I thought that we were done." And they said, no, it's been slow, but we want you to go out for this. And at first I didn't want to, because I didn't want to get my hopes up and then maybe lose the job again. So it was crazy. I prepared for it, but you know, my mind was already in New York. I was already ready to move to New York. And then as luck would have it, I got that role, and it changed my life entirely, you know.
It's an amazing story. And even it's a story for the people who sometimes, you know, there is like a message who says you can surrender right now because life gives a chance.
Yeah, you really don't know what life has in store for you. I mean, I think I gave up because it just, you know, after 10 years of trying to be an actor in LA, it wasn't happening, and I thought, okay, well, it's not gonna happen for me. And then as soon as I gave up, the universe was like, nope, we want you to come back. And
not yet.
Funny how that works, you know. So you just never know. You never know. And I think it's important to keep a degree of faith in yourself, no matter what you do for work, and just hope that it will work out, you know.
Amazing story. You cannot speak much about the future of the series. No. But what do you think? Do you think that the end is coming? What do you think about this?
I don't know. I think, you know, in terms of the comic book, there's still so much more to go. I mean, we could conceivably do it for another 10 years, you know. I think the big question will be, do the fans want 10 more years? You know, I mean, I think there's still plenty of us who enjoy working on the show and want to keep doing it. So it's really up to the fans around the world. If they want to keep seeing more episodes, we'll keep making more episodes. But it really does come down to how many people are watching it every week and if it makes sense financially.
Right now, I want to ask you about your experience playing Red Skull in Avengers. That's another amazing character in an amazing movie.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan, have been since I was a kid, and I used to draw. Cráneo Rojo? Is that what you said in Spanish?
Sí, Cráneo Rojo o Calavera Roja, sí.
Ah, bueno, okay. But I used to draw him, and I used to draw Wolverine and Omega Red and all these characters that were just drawing like kind of, you know, the more sinister looking characters. I just thought they looked cool, and when I got the call to audition for it, I was confused because I didn't understand. I figured it was just doing some voice work, but then when I got the part, I got, you know, flown out there, and it was just amazing. I mean, the crew was massive, and it was, you know, in this really big soundstage, and it was just amazing to be a part of that. I think those movies in 10 years have redefined how movies are going to be made for the next, you know, 50 years, honestly. I mean, in terms of like special effects and the zeitgeist of it, like the excitement around the world about these films is so big, and I was really honored to be a part of it.
What do you think? We will see him again?
We'll see. I hope so. I mean, it's funny because the Russo brothers have both said that now that he's free of the Soul Stone, or at least on one timeline, right? So in one timeline he is free, and in another timeline Cap goes back and returns all the stones, right? So there's probably at least 2 different Red Skulls in all these different parallel universes. So I hope Doctor Strange, you know, because they're talking about that in the next one, there's going to be multiple universes in this new movie. So I hope they address that somehow, because I would love to see how all these multiple layered universes kind of interact with each other.
I want to ask you about all the racist problem. Why do you think the protests are becoming stronger right now? You know, the racism is not new, but why do you think that right now are becoming stronger?
Why racism is becoming stronger?
No, the protest. You know, the people protesting.
Well, I think I can only speak for our country, but I think the reason why it's become so prevalent in the United States is because the Black community is feeling like they're not being listened to, and they definitely feel as though there's no accountability for police officers when they are tragically being hunted down and killed in the streets. And you know, I think that's all, at the end of the day, the cornerstone of what they're asking for. The Black Lives Matter is about honoring and protecting our Black citizens, and right now they're not. They're just not being protected. And so we really need to make sure that we are protecting all of our citizens, and not just giving them legal protections and protecting their lives, but also giving them a fighting chance in their communities, and giving them the resources and the funding for mental health and for advocacy groups in terms of like job applications and employment opportunities that aren't there right now. And if we really deal with this, it's an unfortunate, very unfortunate, disgusting part of our history, you know, but we've never really dealt with it. And I think our generation is tasked with the very difficult but very important role of dissecting and then acknowledging and engaging this problem in a real way, and not just sweeping it under the rug like our grandparents and our you know, forefathers have done for centuries. We have to address it now, and that's why we're seeing so many protests. And I'm very proud to have been a part of a lot of those, and I hope they continue.
Do you expect that any positive change in the future because of this? Do you believe that a real change?
Yeah, I have to. I mean, that's the reason why we're out there every week. I mean, there has already been great change. I mean, we've already seen a lot of really positive changes in Minneapolis and Los Angeles, New York. We're seeing a lot of reform in the police departments and taking away a lot of funding, or just reallocating that funding for, like I said, employment opportunities for mental health advocacy groups. Like, there's a lot of times where police are called into situations that they really are not equipped to handle. And I think that's what we're just trying to say, is that, you know, the way we've been doing it in this country is not working. And we need to address that and change that systemically now, and not just in the future, and not create new laws. That is important too, but we need to hold people accountable no matter what job they do. If they harass or murder someone, that is unacceptable in this country, and any country for that matter. And we are already seeing more laws being passed and more advocacy groups coming out of the woodwork because we're tired of it, and it has to be addressed now. Otherwise, you know, this will not end. And I think it is our job. It is a difficult time. Obviously, I mean, we're dealing with the pandemic, we're dealing with a lot of economic uncertainty, but this is where we are, and we have to deal with all these problems now, because they will not get better unless we address them. And we have to look at ourselves and look at how we are accountable as well. So all of us have to do the work, and I'm hoping that not just America, but every country in the world is really looking at systemic problems that have held them back, because I think what we all want is for people to have the same opportunities that we've all had to, you know, enjoy in various forms. I mean, you know, that's the cornerstone of America, is the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And for right now, there's a huge section of our country that does not have access to that basic fundamental right. And so that's what we're trying to do.
We saw on TV, obviously the racism thing, it's different in every country, but when you saw on TV, sometimes we saw a black cop punching a black guy. So for me, it's difficult to understand if it's all about, you know, the color of the skin, or it's about power, because for me it's difficult to understand, you know. You know what I mean? Sometimes we saw a black cop punching and killing a black man, for example. So I think it's not. Sometimes it's not about the color of the skin. It's about power. It's about I don't know.
Sure, I think right now, like I said, I think the police are oftentimes being called into situations that their very presence when guns are pulled out and aggression is being introduced into a situation, it's not always the best case scenario, the best solution for a problem. Police are, I think most police hopefully are well-intentioned people, but they're not trained in de-escalation. They're not trained as well as they should be to really calm down situations and deal with them, especially with people with mental health problems or disabilities where they are coming in with guns drawn and aggression, and that's not what we need. What we need are mental health advocates. What we need are people who are trained in de-escalation to come in and help in those situations. And I don't think it's a wild request to ask for that. I think it's a good thing to ask for that, and I think it's just a matter of training better. I think it's a matter of counseling. I think it's a matter of just making sure that we have the best people suited for each job. Crisis management, as Nick just said, it is essential that we have the right people dealing with the right problems. And it doesn't mean that we don't need police. We do need the police for certain things, but they are now being tasked with handling too many things that they are probably not suited for. And I think that's all we're trying to ask for at the end of the day, and we also need police accountability when they do overstep, when they do harass, get violent with, or kill people. That is, it's just unacceptable. We cannot have that in this country anymore.
We have some questions from your fans, so
Okay.
Let me check here. There is a new project, something about filming in Argentina. It's something you can tell us about it? Oh,
Me filming in Argentina?
yes.
Oh, I don't
No?
know.
I have a friend. The name is Javier. It's the people knows as the Argentinian Rick Grimes, and he knew at the Walker Soccer last year. He is from Argentina, and he told me that you talked something about filming in Argentina.
Oh, I mean, there's always projects percolating, but I haven't agreed to anything right now. But hopefully, I love Argentina. I was there 5 years ago, I guess. I was in Chile and Argentina, and I was there for about 2 weeks. I love it. I would love to shoot something out there.
Oh, okay, but
currently don't have any plans right now, especially with coronavirus. There's nothing currently.
Yeah, sure.
Because we don't know if we're going to be allowed to go back to work at all in this industry for a while,
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question was, if you could have played any other characters at The Walking Dead besides Aaron, of course, who would you pick?
I always say this, but I love Shane. I think Shane was, he was a son of a bitch at times, but
Yes.
he was probably the most honest character in terms of, looking at where they were at and realizing they had to make some tough decisions. And ironically, I think that Rick, especially towards the end of his time on the show in season 9, he became a lot like Shane, So I feel like that would be a character that I would love to sing. I like playing characters that are a little bit dark and light at the same time, and I love that Aaron has now in the last 2 seasons. We've slowly seen more darkness and a little bit more of a desire to be a leader shine through, and I love that about Aaron, and I think that's hopefully will continue as the years go on.
We love you also, Shane.
Yeah,
and I want to ask you.
I just think John did such a great job with that role too.
Yes, even making the Punisher. I think it's a dark man.
It's incredible. Yeah, he's amazing. He's an amazing actor. He really is. Yeah.
Do you think there is a chance to make a crossover between The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead? There is a lot of rumors about this. Do you think it's possible?
I think so. I mean,
I would love to see that.
I think there's probably, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think there are plans to go there eventually because, you know, they've certainly been inching their way eastward geographically on the show. So it could, I mean, it's not that far away from each other. They just have to find a reason to kind of meet in the middle, and that'd be really cool. I'd love to see that.
Okay, I want to ask you about your future. Right now it's very difficult because all the coronavirus thing, but do you have projects or something that you can tell?
Yeah, well, luckily I got, at the beginning of quarantine, I got this sound booth. So I've been doing a lot of voiceover for Family Guy and American Dad and a few other animated shows. And I've been writing a lot. I've been writing a lot of my own projects and working with Michael Trenor, who played Nicholas on the show, on some fun stuff. So there's all sorts of fun projects always in the back of my mind, but we're just kind of...
I want to ask you about the last episode of the 10th season. Where is it?
Where is it?
Yes.
So I can't say anything yet, but I promise that AMC has some fun news about that coming soon. And it will... I can't say much, but it's not my place to make that announcement, but they'll be making an announcement very soon about that.
Amazing,
but
amazing.
It's worth it. It was such a good episode, and I honestly think it's worth the wait because it's just an epic episode. It's huge. It's so vast, and it's going to have some nice little twists and turns at the end there. So I know it sucks because you have to wait all this time to see it, but I think it'll be well worth the wait.
I want to thank you for your time. For me, it's an honor. It was an honor, and I want to thank you. Really thank you for your time, and you're an amazing guy and an amazing actor. So thank you.